forms 1 and 2. Pretty simple forms here, but let's go ahead and touch on them real quick. I just went over this with the lady. So first information here, you just fill out the first name, social security number, whatever it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, these is the forms that the FCGS, which is the Funeral Consumer Garden Society, sends out to all of our policyholders, as long as you make sure they fill out the leave behind form that's in your white folder. And so we've talked about that during the presentation and closing the deal. There's a white carbon copy folder in your FCGS folder. That's going to let the FCGS know, hey, they want to be a member. And from there, we make sure we follow back up with them, let them know they'll be receiving this form A and B. So this form's pretty simple. They do have an 800 number they can call to help them fill it out. So Eric is on here. Your middle initial, mine is Y, last name is Smith. Put your full name on there, date of birth, 01/01/1973, your birthplace, and this is all optional, you guys, all optional. So they don't have to fill it out but for those who do, make sure they just put their date, birthplace date in Ohio, sex, male, marital status. If they're married, you put married, if not single. Name of spouse, if it was a spouse. That's my mom's name. Date of marriage, 01. I mean, all this stuff is pretty simple. Place of marriage, wherever they was married. Washington, D.C. Usual occupation. What they do for work. What do they do for work? My dad worked at the post office, so let's put that on there. Type of business, years of education. If it's high school, it's just 12. If it's more, you put 16 or 20, whatever you want. And if they wanted to put their father's name on there, they can. And if they want to put their mother's name, remember, this is just stuff that might be in the obituary, right? Next of kin, this is usually going to be the beneficiary. So make sure you put the beneficiary's name on there. They're usually going to be the ones that's taking care of all the planning for the person when they actually pass away, the planning for the policyholder when they actually pass away, relationship, whatever they are, sister, it can be a friend, it could be whatever they want, and then just put their telephone number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, dash, 7, 8, 9, 6, whatever it is. They don't have to have their address on there, but if they do, put it in there. Now here's where we start getting into meat and potatoes. That stuff is pretty simple. What type of services they wanted. Traditional burials, just like the ones we've seen every single day, where you go to a funeral home, they have a service, and then from there, everybody drives straight to the grave, and they pay their last respects as the casket gets dropped into the grave. Graveside service, this time you're just going straight to the gravesite. There is no traditional service. That's going to save the beneficiary money on renting out a funeral home, the material from the funeral home. It's going to save them a little bit of money on anything that they would normally buy in a funeral home. So it should save them anywhere between $2,000 and $3,000 by going straight to the grave, right? And you won't have limos. What I was getting at, you don't have limos. You don't have to have any cars, things like that, which can cost anywhere from $100 and $150 a car, on top of renting a room, or the funeral director services, which could be up to $2,500. So you can legitimately save about $3,000 by going straight to the gravesite. Cremation. If they want a cremation, you just got to make sure what type of cremation that they want. Down here, if they wanted a cremation, you would go down to, hey, what do you want to do with the ashes? Do you want them returned to the family? Did you have somebody else that's passed away that you want them buried in? You can have you can bury the ashes just like a traditional funeral, where you have a plot, you have a headstone marker, things like that. Niche, that's when you put it in. Think of it like a condo for crematory urns. So they can be on floor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however tall the niche is. Just think of it just like a condominium for people that have cremation. If they want them scattered at sea, you can go, as long as you got the proper paperwork filled out, you can have these scattered at sea, scattered at air. I hope nobody's sick, scared of heights or anything like that, because we can have them scattered at air also. It's always completely up to the policyholder when they're filling this out. But let's go back to a traditional burial up here. Place of service, did you want it at a church? Are you affiliated with a certain funeral home? You know, what's your religious affiliation if you're Baptist? You know, you just put Baptist in there. FSD, you know, funeral home. If you wanted at a funeral home, what funeral home you wanted? Prayer service. Did you? Sorry, if you did you belong to the military? If so, you put Army, Marines, whatever you might be, or certain lodges or unions. Prayer service. If you wanted a prayer service before, or you know, some people aren't that religious. You don't have to have a prayer service. Or if you wanted an actual prayer service before everything started. You know, sometimes when people pass away in the public eye, they'll have prayer services before any type of funeral is done. Visitation and wake. If you want the public, everybody to be able to view the body, you check that. If you wanted it just private, you put it right there. If you didn't want any of it, you don't have to use any of it. Don't forget. Cemetery name. Here in Tampa, a big one is Rest Haven. But you can use any city cemetery they want. If it's a military burial, do you want to use a military cemetery? You would just put whatever cemetery they wanted to use from the VA. Did you own a cemetery property yet? If not, we're going to include one in the policy. But if they did, put yes and where it is. Arrangement preferred. Is it going to be you and your wife? Are you going to be buried by yourself, right? It's completely up to you. Companion, or you and your husband now these days, right? No matter what you want, you can have it either with somebody or by yourself. Burial site, mausoleum. That's just like the niche I was talking about earlier. So some people don't want to go into the ground, so they might use a mausoleum, lawn crypt, or ground burial. This is going to be your most popular one. This is where they take the plot. They have they dig up the dirt. They have a vault around the dirt, so the water goes in and out. Dirt goes in and out. The body's not floating around if there's a flood. And they lower the body 6 feet in the ground, cover it up with dirt. That's called opening and closing. And then there you're done with that. Please help my loved ones find a funeral home. So if in Tampa, you know, once again, I'm in Tampa. If you wanted to make sure that the FCGS price shop, you can put the top 3 funeral homes in the area or whatever they want. You know, if they just want to try to get the best deal for the family, make sure you put 2 or 3 on there so people can price shop. Choose ones close to the house, but that way, if Akins is charging $7,000, Wilson's is charging $6,000, Williams is charging $5,000, you can give Akins the option to price shop, or you can just give the business to Williams. It's completely up to the customer. The key is they have to call us when death is imminent. If one of these people pick up the body, it's going to be a lot harder to be able to deal and price shop and things like that. All right. Final wishes B, again, you just put your name and social right here. If they have other insurance, like if they had a Globe policy, here's what's awesome about the FCGS. If they had a Globe policy, not only do we get our policy enforced, we can help them out by maybe giving this Globe policy a call and get this process started for them also. Most insurance companies are going to need the same paperwork. Globe might need a little extra, or certain other insurance might need a little extra. So with us being able to call them and helping them out, helping our policyholders beneficiary out, we might be able to get that process started a little faster, because this will be a sad time and an overwhelming time for the beneficiary. So we're going to help them out any way we can. So if there's a final expense company, or if there's a traditional company like AIG or anything like that, we can help that process out. These usually the traditional policies usually take a little longer to pay out. Military record, if they were in the war, or no matter what, you just fill out this information. Once again, if they want the flag draped over the funeral home, draped over the casket, or if they want it folded and presented to the mother and daughter, husband, wife, they can also fold them up. It comes in a really nice package, so whatever they want. And remember, the big thing that we need right here, that DD 214. Whenever somebody's military, this is your discharge papers. So make sure they can always find their DD 214. Special instructions, I'm not going to bore you here. What type of flowers that you wanted. If you wanted a certain song played by Beyonce or whoever you wanted, make sure you just put it here. If you wanted a sad song played, no matter what songs, we can make sure that your beneficiary knows, hey, she wanted these played at the service, right? Next, we have the personal effects. Jewelry. If you wanted the wedding band on, most people keep that to stays on. You just check there. Eyeglasses, check there. If they wanted them off, return to the beneficiary or whoever they wanted. Other, no matter what you want. I tell people to put it in here like I'm 5 years old. You can put a blue tie, for an example. I'm going to make sure I wear a blue tie. Current wardrobe. Do you want a current wardrobe that they wore when they passed away? Or do you want something like, hey, I want to make sure you wear that my pink dress with the bow ties. That way, your beneficiary knows exactly what you wanted to be dressed in. Newspaper obituaries, these cost the family money, but if they wanted to put something in the obituary, a lot of people do pay their final respects. You can put it in the obituary. Just put here would be Tampa Times or St. Pete Times. All right, we're almost done here. And the last thing, if they have a dog or if they have a pet at all, this is what I use a lot. Hey, if something were to happen to you, you have a pet, we're going to not only make sure, what's your pet's name? My pet's name is Okoye. It's a dog. You know, if it's a bird, put whatever you want in there. Person who would care for my pet, I'm going to make sure a friend of mine or my sister gets it, right? What's their phone number? That way, if you were to pass away, we're going to call them up and say, hey, we can either have you go pick up a Okoye. We're going to try to get somebody to pick up a Okoye for you and drop it off at this person's address. You put whatever address they have. Food brand, self-explanatory. Treats, if they want a certain treat. Diet restriction, daily routines. If this person, which most of the time they won't know, wanted to make sure we went to the same vet, put the veterinarian's name there, address, city, state, zip code. Funds from my state to go to the new caregiver for my pet's care. So if they got a $25,000 policy and they wanted to give $5,000 to somebody to help take care of their pet, you'd put that amount right there, right? Real quick, I just wanted to go over that with you guys. Eric Smith here from Tampa, Florida. Good luck, good luck, good luck. You guys are going to kill it. You're going to do great in this business, no pun intended. But these are the forms. There's going to be a white copy on these and a yellow copy. Tell them when they fill these out, they keep the yellow, mail the white copies back to us. There will be a return envelope for them to put that in. We'll get it. We'll archive it. We'll save it up. If anything were to happen to them, the family gets 5 cards. They call up the FCGS. They can pull up this information right from where, right on the phone with the customer at the time. Okay? If you have any other questions, make sure you reach out to your upline. Bye-bye.